Your little demonstration. If you can see by the rose here, there's like a swirl in the middle, and you see all these folds and creases, and you try to pick that up with the paint and like wetting an area down and then sticking your paint in here and letting it bleed out through. And with a brush you can blend it down that way. I kind of let it just do that. If you can see, mine is by nowhere near as pretty as this real picture here, but how I think it in my head never comes out exactly as it should on the paper, but that's just me. But anyway, you see like it's darker here and it bleeds out. Let me get a real good one here where it does that. Darker and bleeds out, and you want the darker to set down into where those shadows are, because basically that's all that is. So you draw your rose like this one here, and you start just making a spiral and then loop it down in so that it looks like it's the base, and you just keep repeating that around over and over. And then when you go to lay your paint in, like I said, you just let it settle down in here. I also am what's called a positive negative painter, and I do a lot of that by, as you can see, this part will end up being the same thing that's here, only I just don't paint it. So to get that effect, I lay the paint down here, let it drift out a little bit, and leave that space there. You see what I'm saying? So let me put some paint down and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so let's see if I can see what I'm doing here. I use a very, very small brush, and I'm not even going to touch all the way to the top of that line. I'm going to just lay the paint a little bit out from under it like that, like a space. Rinse my brush out a bit to clear, and then just bring the water down, just plain water down, to let it get lighter as it goes. But then I'm going to come back in with some heavier paint and lay it on that wet spot there. Keep a paper towel handy. I'm not quite getting it as dark as I want it, so I got to go back in, pick up some more, leaving that white line there, but you can see how it's already making it blend. And I'm just going to take my brush and pick up some of that paint, get rid of it, go back in with a paper towel and dab it. Pick up some more clear water, drop it in, and then you can see how that happens. I might go back in with some of the fuchsia color, watercolor, and maybe drop it in there a little bit just to make it darker in the shadowy area. Maybe pick up some more paint, some more water. This is a process. It takes, a little practice to get used to it, but I think you can see where I'm going with this. And then you just let it kind of bleed. So it's you paint and you dab, and you paint and you dab until you get what you're looking for with the shadows. When you build it up, now sometimes I'll go back in with just plain water and let it blend a bit. And I'll let that dry a little bit, maybe go back in and sponge in some water right here and let it bleed some more and darken it up. And then you just do this until you get the effect that you're looking for with the shadow. And as that dries, it'll look a little different as well. And then you do the same thing in all these other areas. I'll do it here for you can see. I'm going to leave a space again around the top of that petal and just go in with some lighter paint. Go back in, darken it up a bit, and lay it right in there like that. And maybe pick up a little fuchsia, get it in the corner there, and just a bit around the line. And then some more water just to bring it around. And as that dries, it'll get lighter around the top of the petal, but I'm going to leave it as